Have you ever curled up with a copy of 1001 Nights, ready to lose yourself in the tales of Sinbad the Sailor, Aladdin, or Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves? What if I told you that for centuries, readers of the original Arabic collection would have no idea what you were talking about? That's right. Some of the most famous stories we associate with 1001 Nights aren't actually from the original 1001 Nights. Today, we're uncovering the fascinating and slightly scandalous history of how these iconic tales were added to the collection, changing it forever. Let's set the scene. The core of 1001 Nights, or Alf Layla Walala in Arabic, is an ancient collection of stories with roots in Persian, Indian, and Mesopotamian folklore. These tales were compiled over centuries, passed down orally and in various manuscripts. The central framing device is brilliant. The clever Shahrazada telling stories to the vengeful king Shahryar, night after night, to save her own life. The collection was a rich tapestry of fables, romances, and adventures, but it was also a fluid, ever-changing work. There was no single, definitive version. Then, in the early 18th century, a French scholar and translator named Antoine Galland got his hands on a Syrian manuscript of the collection. He was captivated. He began translating the tales into French, and his version, published between 1704 and 1717, became an absolute sensation across Europe. People couldn't get enough of this exotic, magical world. There was just one problem. Galland ran out of stories. His manuscript wasn't complete. It didn't even contain 1001 Nights worth of tales. So, what does a translator with a hungry audience and a looming deadline do? He gets creative. Very creative. In Paris, Galland met a Syrian storyteller from Aleppo named Hannah Diab. Diab was a traveler and a masterful raconteur. Over their meetings, Diab told Galland a series of incredible stories from his own oral tradition, tales that Galland had never encountered in his manuscript. Two of these stories were about a boy with a magic lamp, and another about a woodcutter who discovers a robber's cave. Sound familiar? That's right. The stories of Aladdin and his wonderful lamp and Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves were first introduced to the Western world not from an ancient Arabic manuscript but from the mouth of Hannah Diab, and subsequently written down and published by Antoine Galland. Galland simply inserted these new tales into his translation of the Nights. He didn't really advertise that they were new additions. He just seamlessly wove them into the collection. And why not? They were fantastic stories, full of magic, suspense, and adventure, perfectly fitting the spirit of the original tales. The public went wild for them. Aladdin and Ali Baba quickly became the superstars of the collection. They were so popular, in fact, that they became inseparable from 1001 Nights in the Western imagination. When later English translators, like the famous Sir Richard Burton, created their own versions of the Nights, they faced a dilemma. They knew these stories weren't in the oldest Arabic manuscripts they were working from, but by then, the public expected them to publish a version of 1001. Nights without Aladdin would be like publishing the Bible without the story of Noah's Ark. It was unthinkable. So, they did what Galland had done. They included them. They often translated Galland's French versions of the stories back into a more archaic, Orientalist style of English, to make them seem like they belonged with the older tales. This cemented the fake story's place in the canon. The same goes for the 7 voyages of Sinbad the Sailor. While Sinbad's tales do exist as a separate, independent cycle of Arabic adventure stories, they weren't originally part of the 1001 Nights frame story. Galland, and translators after him, incorporated them into the collection because they fit so well, further expanding the book we know today. So, are these stories fake? Well, it's complicated. They aren't part of the medieval Arabic manuscript tradition of Alf, Layla, but they are authentic Middle Eastern folk tales, passed down through oral tradition by storytellers like Hannah Diab. What Galland did was act as a bridge, bringing these oral tales into the written literary world. He essentially curated and expanded the collection for a new audience. In a way, he was participating in the very tradition of the Nights itself, a living, breathing collection of stories that grows and changes over time. This story reveals something incredible about how culture is shared and transformed. Asterisk, 1001 Nights isn't a static, dusty book on a shelf. It's a global phenomenon, shaped by translators, storytellers, and audiences. The editions of Aladdin and Ali Baba didn't corrupt the original. They enriched it and ensured its survival and global fame. They are a testament to the power of a good story. A story that can travel across continents and centuries, and find a new home in an unexpected place. The next time you hear "Open Sesame" or think of a genie in a lamp, remember the long and winding journey those stories took. From the memory of a Syrian storyteller to the pen of a French translator and into the heart of global culture. It's a story as magical as any told by Scheherazade herself. Thanks so much for watching and exploring this fascinating piece of literary history with me. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you next time.